Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, here to react to the Raptors' 115 to 112 win against the Miami Heat. And this was a close one. Pretty unorthodox game here tonight. The Raptors, they had a big lead. It was neck and neck at the very beginning, the first half of the game. Then the third quarter, Toronto absolutely blew the Miami Heat off the court. The starters and the bench unit just took Miami to school. And then the fourth quarter, especially down the stretch, the Raptors just kind of had a little collapse. It was a weird structured game, not what we're used to seeing, but nonetheless the Raptors got the win. And I guess we'll get the negative out of the way first. The end of the fourth quarter, the bench unit was in at the start. It was about a 12-14 point game, and Dwayne Casey threw back in the starters. Now, for most teams, this is just a normal thing. You throw your starters and you throw your top guys in at the end of games. But for the Toronto Raptors, this hasn't been the case as of late. The starters haven't played a fourth quarter in the past 5 games, and they looked pretty rusty out there in the fourth quarter, giving up a 13-0 run for the Miami Heat, who almost brought the game back, which was a bit horrifying for Raptors fans. I felt like we had it most of the way. We had a nice big cushion, but Miami kept fighting, which is pretty wild. We kind of reverted back into the ISO style of game, but Dwayne Casey called the timeout in the end, and Toronto was able to close business. I guess blowing out these teams by 20, 30 points every night might not be necessarily a great thing. The starters are getting rusty down the stretch, but I don't know. I'm not going to take too much from it. The Raptors otherwise played a phenomenal game. And we'll just get right into all the players. The guy we got to talk about first, DeMar DeRozan, 27 points. Not the greatest shooting night tonight, 11 from 25. But in the third quarter, DeMar was an absolute monster. He really broke the game open for the Toronto Raptors and gave us that cushion for the fourth. He was just getting to the rim at will. He wasn't too great from behind the line tonight, 1 for 7 from 3. But he hit a nice one on the wing. And he was hitting the mid-rangers. This is more of a DeMar DeRozan game from last season, but tonight we needed it. The offense was a bit shaky, and Miami's always playing great defense. So, now shout out to DeMar for leading the scoring punch. And, again, his brother in the backcourt, Kyle Lowry, also played awesome tonight. 22 points for Kyle, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. Just what we need out of Kyle Lowry. The offense wasn't too great tonight. Shots weren't falling. Not much ball movement. The bench unit always plays with ball movement, but I don't know. The Miami Heat really get into teams. They're a really great defensive roster, and we could see that affecting the Toronto Raptors tonight. But they were able to break through, and you got to ride the guys that are hot. So our backcourt pulled through on this one. They played really good games. We needed them to have some big nights. Haven't really needed them the past few games, but they were great down here in this game against Miami. The bench was also awesome though. That's just expected now. Fred VanVleet, 10 points. DeLon Wright, him in the fourth quarter especially at the beginning of the fourth, was really nice. Hit a couple threes, just making some nice passes. Fred also had 6 assists and 5 rebounds. And the thing about Fred, noticed this during the game. You look at any other player on the Raptors, and you have confidence that DeMar and Lowry are going to hit their shots, but there's not that guarantee. Whenever I see Fred shoot an open shot, I automatically think it's going in. There's no thought in my head. I count the bucket before it happens. I don't know if Fred's ever missed a steady shot, a shot that's completely open, right in the flow. He's just so, you can count on Fred, which is so awesome to have on the roster, especially from a bench guy. Just someone that's always you can count on to execute down the stretch. Nothing crazy, but you know what you're going to get from Fred, and he's super consistent. Love me some Fred VanVleet. CJ Miles, he started the game off pretty cold. He hit a few shots, 11 points, 2 for 10 from 3. Just a cold night from the Toronto Raptors. Kind of just shots weren't really falling, and we could still get this win, which is great to see, especially for a game after coming off a big win streak, it's almost kind of a trap game. Miami Heat's really hungry. They've lost the last couple of games, and they're in that pack in the Eastern Conference. Everyone's trying to fight for positioning. Everything is so close. So every game is a important game for Miami. But great to see the Raptors close this one out. I was really didn't want us to lose this game. So, just great. My emotions are a bit shook right now. I was really hope we didn't want to lose that game. I had confidence in that we wouldn't, but it's still, you still got that fear. But there is one thing. We got to stop reverting back to that ISO ball down the stretch. I know we haven't really had any close games to execute down the stretch. So the guys, all joking aside, they probably are rusty to executing down the stretch. So hopefully this doesn't keep up, and during the playoffs we can really keep the same style of game throughout the whole time, not just during the end, not switch it completely back to old ways at the end of the game. So that's something to look out for the rest of the season, any close games we have coming up. Toronto Raptors are fighters, though, and I'd like to see us hit more free throws in the clutch. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and CJ Miles all at the line. All hit 1 for 2. Got to see that 2 for 2. Something I'd like to see as a fan. Get the games over with iced early. Anyways, we'll get right into the segments. Play of the day. Had a really nice play tonight. DeMar DeRozan came down the lane in the semi-fast break, and Bam Adebayo was back. A very big man. DeMar DeRozan, he almost pulled a D-Wade. D-Wade's back in Miami. DeMar DeRozan does the over-the-head swing through, throws up this nice reverse layup. That's what you call an eye pleaser for someone watching the game. Really got a little bit English on that glass. DeMar DeRozan with your play of the game. Also we have 2 as well as a runner-up to the play of the game. Lowry threw DeMar. Nice little alley-oop at I believe it was the second quarter. Lowry to DeMar alley-oops, always getting on the play of the day recommendation. So, yeah, but not all plays can be the play of the day, and some just make you say, oh geez. And I referenced the oh geez play or possessions of the night, and that goes to the Raptors down the stretch. Yeah, when we couldn't buy a bucket, that really made me say, oh geez, as a Raptors fan. Gotta not have that happen anymore. So, gotta get that late game execution. And tonight, this is the big segment, the Damari Carroll Gold Star Award. That goes to Goran Dragic. That man, every time he goes in the lane, he always runs into people. He's thrown his body all over the place, left and right. And that's the case with the whole Miami Heat team. All they do is just jump into people. It's not even a basketball play. He came out, he tripped Lowry while he was shooting a 3, trying to do the Reggie Miller move, get the and 1 3-pointer, but get called for an offensive foul, thank God. Even at the beginning of the game, OG was underneath the rim, and Goran Dragic comes in, just starts waving his elbows around, his legs kicking, trying to go in for a layup. He made the layup, but then he was sooking to the referee, because he created all the contact against OG, and he's looking for a foul. Goran Dragic, you can't be memeing around like that. You can't be hitting people, running all over the place, throwing your body at people, and being expecting to draw the foul. Not a fan of that. The Miami Heat, you always see on the Reddit and stuff, they're always saying that there's a huge rivalry between the Raptors and the Heat, and that Goran Dragic's better than Larry. That's absurd. Toronto always, aside from that last game, we knocked them out in the playoffs. We always handle the Heat, despite they're a pretty good team. We handle them. There's no rivalry here. It's a one-sided rivalry. It's like the Clippers-Golden State rivalry. We're Golden State, they're the Clippers. They think there's a rivalry. There's not. Goran Dragic, Miami Heat. Y'all get the Damari Carroll Gold Stars Award tonight. And a couple final things. OG started the game, hit a couple shots, which was always great to see. OG splashing some threes. But he didn't get too many minutes tonight. And I know he just had that kind of ankle scare. Maybe he's injured. Maybe Casey wanted to limit his minutes, not risk anything. That's fair, but if he isn't, I'd like to see OG get a few more minutes, especially when he's hitting his shots, because he's always great on defense, always impacting the game the right way. And OG's kind of hit that rookie wall on the offensive end. He's still giving this to us on the defensive end, still making some great passes, but Be nice to see OG get his offense going a bit the second half of the season. I think the All-Star break will be good for him. Get a nice little break and come back full stride for the playoffs. He's our god. He's gonna bounce back. He's the young Kawhi. He's born for the playoffs, built for the playoffs. And the final thing, James Johnson, LeBron James Johnson, looked like it tonight. Really showed out against us. It was kind of weird to see. I guess they went on a huge run, so Spoelstra didn't want to switch anything up. But James Johnson not playing down the stretch. James Johnson had, 16 points tonight and 7 rebounds. Getting to the rim, 7-11 from the field. But I don't know. He played well. James Johnson was a good player when he was in shape. I remember in 2015, we really could have used him. We could have played him. That was at the lowest of the low for Dwayne Casey approval. But then in 2016, he got out of shape, and then we had to let him go. James Johnson's a good NBA player. Shout out to James Johnson. Hopefully, he's doing well in Miami. And D-Wade made a return, too. I'm not sure what you guys thought of D-Wade. First half, he looked really good, in my opinion. 10 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists for Dwayne Wade. I mentioned this in the Cavaliers breakdown video we talked about. Check that out if you guys haven't seen it. We talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers after the trade deadline and how the Raptors are still better than the Cleveland Cavaliers, obviously. But when the Cavs traded Dwayne Wade, this was the Dwayne Wade I was scared for. I know it was just a regular season game, but you can see D-Wade play in spurts. Really good basketball. I think the playoffs, when he's focused and it matters, the games matter significantly, that's when Dwayne Wade can be very scary. And we saw that a couple of years ago. Dwayne Wade absolutely murdered us in the playoffs when we played against the Heat. And, we still pulled it out. But I'm happy he's off the Cavs. And the second half, he was atrocious. Throwing passes to ghosts. He was throwing chaotic passes. But, I don't know. A focused Dwayne Wade scares me a lot more than a focused Jordan Clarkson. But that's just one man's opinion. And, yeah. Anyways, that's it from me. Toronto Raptors win. 6-game win streak. Gotta love it. Play the Bulls tomorrow night. Hopefully we get a 7-game win streak going into the break. Hopefully. Just, the win's a win. Win's a win. Still the top of the East. Best team in the conference. And thanks for listening. You guys like the channel, subscribe, check out our other videos. We'll be back for the reaction to the Bulls game tomorrow. And a nice, exciting video on the Raptors ceiling dropping later tonight.